I love it.
That's cool.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to talk to you gentlemen today for the last out.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And is it Sami? How do I say your first name?
Yep.
Sami?
Sami.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get names wrong all the time, so I want to. Gentlemen, I watched your documentary last night. It just was so exciting and inspirational. I mean, what a human drama. It was just fascinating. I just want to tell you off the bat how much I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
And Sami, I spoke to Bruce Franks Jr. last year when St. Louis Superman. So that was a great interview, great documentary too. So it's a thrill to meet you finally too.
Oh, cool. That's amazing. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, Bruce is an incredible person. So it was a privilege. It was an honor to tell his story with him.
Well, Michael, the timing of this documentary, is just amazing. With the immigration front and center, and the pandemic starting to lighten up, and people getting back to normal with baseball games and everything returning. But I was amazing in this documentary. The players of color are treated by their respective sport. Here we're talking about baseball, and it seems like they toy with a lot of these players.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a reality, and it's a complicated issue. We definitely wanted to key on this concept of the commodification of athletes of color in particular, and sometimes it's difficult to understand or even empathize with the business side of it. I think that's why Gus is such a complicated and interesting character. At times it seems like he's really got the guy's best interest at heart, but when the rubber meets the road, it's like he's willing to drop you like a hat. So as fans of sports and media and music, there's a cost to all of these things that we consume. So I think Sami was really smart to key in on particularly the Cuban journey and just the sort of ridiculous roadblocks and unnecessary, dangerous things that people have to go through just to have a better circumstance for themselves.
Yeah, and Sami, the three players, into the lives of these modern day Cubans, there's so much to consider: the politics, the game, the family. I mean, there was so many layers to this documentary.
Yeah, I mean, it was a challenge sort of figuring out what we were going to key onto. There was a voodoo sacrifice, a Santorian sacrifice that we captured, which was pretty vivid, which we were pretty excited about, which we toyed with the idea of opening the film. But unfortunately, when you're making a film, you have to kill your darlings. In our case, we had to kill the killing of the goat scene, and we couldn't put that in the film. But yeah, there's so much incredible stuff, and it's really a testament to, the players, to the coaches, to the supporting players, and even to Gus, who, he's a complicated guy. He's becomes the antagonist of the story, but he's a fascinating guy. And, there's so many layers to unlock there. But, I think the thing we realized was that the players had given us this gift of this intimacy and had trusted us with their story. So beyond any sort of, devotion to the facts, we were committed to getting their story right and capturing the emotional truth of their journeys.
Well, it was a good choice what you opened the film with, him pulling a tire. It reminded me of Rocky. So it really just shows the determination that we're going to see with these players, doing old school training like that. But, how would you choose the three players that working with them, getting their trust, Michael?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we came into the story through Gus, and, that's testament to a lot of research and just trust building that Sami did initially in the project. But in one of the first interviews we did with him, he invited us down to Costa Rica to check out this group of new players that he had. And of course we were all about it. And, it's funny going back through the rushes of the first things we shot with them, and you sort of stand them up and ask them their name, and they're really stiff in front of the camera. But I think after we understood what we were doing and what we were after, and sort of convey that to them and realize that, hey, this is the story we want to tell. We want to stick with these guys. So it was a process of building that trust. But somebody like Happy was just, he got it right away, and he opened up to us. The other guys, Carlos and Barro, took a little bit longer, but yeah, it was the commitment to just be there.
Yeah, and when you consider hundreds of players have left Cuba and Central America, only 6 have signed with Major League Baseball. So when you know that up front in this documentary, you know that the odds are against these guys. And and also, Sami, you follow a player's journey. I don't want to give any spoilers away because there's so many great twists in this. But you follow one of the rejected players to seek asylum in the U.S. Who was the brave cameraman for that footage? Because talk about the danger that he was in, heading to all the different borders and everything. I mean, I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah, it was Mike. Mike captured that.
No
journey.
kidding.
Yeah, and what you don't see in the film, which is only alluded to in a title card, was he was also sent to a Mexican immigrant jail. It's like one of the most notorious immigrant facilities in the whole world. Yeah, I mean, when he showed me that footage, I don't know if it was like, shock or something like that. He was like, oh, I don't know, that footage of like the dark moment in the story, let's put it that way. He was like, I don't know about that. I was like, dude, no, that's the scene. That's a sequence. That's like a huge sequence. That's
Every
like
time
the
they got
climax
stopped by the cops, I'm freaking out. I'm like, you're all going to jail. I keep thinking of the worst situations. And, I mean, that's just some harrowing footage. I mean, that is just bravery, because not only does it mirror one of the players is, seeking asylum, that's just one example of what's happening right now. All the Latinos are reaching for the border and all that. There's that one story, and you captured that journey and the danger that went along with that, and the bribery and the corruption, and it's all real. It's all, the danger is all there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we knew that there were certain things that made this story possible at that particular time in 2015, but it is somewhat of a timeless representation. Carla Gutierrez, one of our incredible editors, talks a lot about how interesting the demand is for this particular type of immigrants. We don't talk about, immigration that way exactly in terms of the demand, but it's a real true human story. I mean, you see it, what's happening in front of the camera, but there's so many bigger overtones and questions that we need to ask ourselves as a society that, we're all complicit to this to some degree.
Well, without giving any spoilers away, I'm just happy that every one of the players had a positive outcome, baseball or not, they're all doing well. So, gentlemen, what a wonderful documentary. Congratulations. And hope that they're treating you right at Tribeca, because this is one of my favorite films that I've seen during the festival. So thank you both so much for your time today, and come visit us in Las Vegas. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. We'll go to Lotus of Siam. That's like the greatest restaurant in America.
I've been there many times.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeffrey. It's a real
Take
pleasure.
care.
Thank you.